Hey guys, welcome to Lady Grant Scribes. You know how we do. You have been scribed and it's officially going down. We have our guest in the building, Miss Noura. She's definitely going to tell you all wonderful things about bookkeeping. So this is an episode for all my nonprofit organizations out here that you want to tune in, stay locked and loaded, because it's going down with great advice, great tools and tips. Because if those books not right, then your organization is not right. You need a proper foundation. We always talk about foundation. And I am your wonderful host, Alexis. And of course, I have my wonderful co-host,
Brittany C.
And you have been scribed and tune in to Lady Grant Scribes. So Brittany, you want to take us and do the honors and introduce our guest?
Absolutely, because before I do that, we told y'all that stay tuned, we're going to have special guests. We told y'all that. So our special guest today is Noura from Noura's Books. She's an accountant that works with nonprofit organizations to keep up with their books, keep up with the formation of that. So just to dive right into the questions that we have for you today, just so our audience can get a broad picture, that just say like why bookkeeping and why accounting is so important. So can you let our audience know what are the consequences for not taking care of bookkeeping?
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, like there's a lot of consequences for not taking care of your books as a nonprofit. One of them is losing your exempt status. That's only one. The other one is you cannot get funded, as you ladies know better than me on this. Like if you don't show the funder that you have good books, you are responsible, how are you spending your money, you cannot get funded. This is just to mention two of them. And also it will cost you a lot of money to fix your books or to get them ready for the end of the year tax filing. Yes, as a nonprofits, you do not owe taxes, but you still have a requirement to file information on tax return for the IRS to keep your status.
Right. So guys, this is great advice. So I think we mentioned this in maybe the first two episodes about having your books in order and losing exempt status. So here in Texas, you have at least 3 consecutive years that you need to file. If you do not, after that, you can lose your status, guys, and you don't want that to happen. And that I think that's across the board, if I'm not mistaken. But here in Texas, because we're from
It's
Texas,
an IRS thing.
Yeah, so across the board, 3 years, guys, check into that. A lot of people lose their status. Sometimes you go after these grants thinking you still got your status and then be all shocked that you don't, and then you're not in compliance. And then you don't want to leave a bad taste in a funder's mouth when you did all that hard work, you hired a grant writer like me and Brittany, and then you don't have your books in order. So this is key. This is the starting point with this question here. Make sure you file. And hello, just because you started out and you don't have funds or you didn't receive, you still want to file, just like your taxes. You still regular taxes, you want to file, guys. So a lot of that misconception happens where you guys think, well, I didn't make anything, or no one donated, and so I don't think I should have to. Yes, and don't do it alone. That's why we have Noura here, because she's going to explain things that you cannot do that a wonderful tax preparer can, to make sure you're doing the paperwork right. It's not like your regular taxes, guys. It's a little bit extensive with the $9.90 for you to kind of understand, especially if you knew. So Noura, I want to ask you a question. What are the different forms? Because with the $9.90 you can have the postcard starting off, or
Yes.
you can have the other form, the $9.90 that they can fill out. So what are the differences between these forms, and what's best for a nonprofit that's starting out if they're under a $50,000 threshold to fill out?
So if you're under the $50,000, you can definitely do the card, which is the $990, and it's very simple. Doesn't have to have a lot of information. It's not expensive to do, even if you hire a professional. But there's another one like the 990 EZ. If you have more than that, up to 200,000 in funding, that you can also do. And this is usually for the organization who already file, when they get the exempt status, they file for 1023 EZ. This is the form they should file. But there's a bit larger organization, when they make more than that, they are required to fill in the very long form, which is the 990, the long form. And that's, I think, most funders would prefer to see that. Also, IRS prefer to do that, to see that. So it's always better to do it anyway. I recommend it all the time to do the 990, but you still, if you just started and you don't have the fund, you cannot afford the cost of it, it's fine to start with the other thing, with the card only. So it's totally fine. It just like the 990 gives you better opportunity, and IRS love to see it, even though if you are allowed to do the other one, but they would still love to see it. So just make sure you don't file the wrong form. If you are, if you're making over the $50,000 a year, make sure you don't still do the card. It's not going to be accepted, and you're going to be wasting time and money for nothing.
Right, because I know when I first started my nonprofit organization out, I did the 990, I think, EZ. Starting off because of the threshold, and I actually hired a CPA, and then the second year as well, until the funds start coming in. But guys, this is your navigation for your, like she said, for the IRS to find it, or even people who working with you. Trust me, if you're asking for donations, they're going to go right to GuideStar, find your information, or go to the IRS to find your information. This is public for people who donating to you to see what you're doing, what you're coming in. Now, if you're new and you say you need that operational cost, they'll see that hey, this person didn't. They're new, they need operational grants. But when you do have that coming in, that's why Noura is good for that, to help you know your books, how to organize stuff, so you'll be prepared and people will want to donate to you. So thank you so much, because that is vital. That is the foundation key for you guys. Now, you did all that hard work so you don't lose your status, making sure you put the right info so people can find where you at financially, because that's to the public. And so they can help. It's a tool too to help them. If you have no money, don't be ashamed that you didn't say, oh, I don't want that record. But guess what? If you're going after operational grants, you need it. So you tell people, this is what I need it, so they can see, and then see your growth and see your consistency. So a lot of awards is based on that as well, to know that you're out here in these streets, putting in the work, serving your community. So Noura, can you tell me, what do you do and how do you help nonprofit organizations with the combination of bookkeeping and taxes, and how they go hand to hand?
Sure. So I do have different tiers of organization I help just startup organizations, I help medium size and larger size. So I start from the very very beginning, just establishing the documents, and go for registration with the state and with the IRS. And you have to understand, it's a lot of different rules for the state. Each state is different, and you have to register with the Attorney General. You have to make sure you are taking care of that as well. So I do that. I help them with that. And then I have operational program that's for the startup. I get them ready. I help them get ready for grants. So I don't do the grant itself, but I help them be ready for the grants.
That budget. So you help them with the budget, the startup budget, the budget for their projects. Because guys, like we talked about, it's one thing to have a startup budget for your organization as itself, but you also need budgets for your program, per program. What is the projected cost? What are you going to need for that to start up for you to go after? So listen, Noura, you need to, if you have not written down Noura's information with the quickness, you're gonna need her, because this is seem like a one-stop shop, because these are vital things to get you part of what we like to say, and said over and over and over, about grant readiness. You have to have a great budget. So hats off to you, Noura. I'm over here clapping inside with jumps and leaps because it's so important. And I'm definitely going to be reaching out to you guys. It doesn't matter how good you are in the game. I know when that budget is tight
Mhm.
and you have those things in order, especially with finance, at the end of the day, that's what makes the world go round. So you need someone like Noura in your corner. Okay, Noura, so what else? So this, I'm learning some great tips. This is
Yeah.
juicy stuff here. So what else do they need to have in place as a startup, since you're helping them as a
So,
startup with the budgeting?
yeah, so when they start, I help set them up on an accounting system, do their chart of account, because chart of account is very important, and there's a special requirement for the nonprofits to have reporting, to have the reporting beer grant, not beer grants, beer grants, yeah, but beer program also. Even if those coming from the same funding, you have to distinguish between unrestricted and restricted funding. You have to report your expenses for each program, because this is also another reason you could lose your status and you don't want to go through that. And I have another, I can help also with donor management system, like help you choose one that fits your needs, and help manage it, and help with just coming up with a good campaign like idea. And also, yeah, and also like in the different level, like when they are ready to do more things, then we can set them up for CFO services, which is like we measure KPIs, we set budgets for next year, but we cannot go there until we have their books in orders. So you cannot plan for anything if you don't know where are you at. We have to know where are you at to go further. And I do help with tax return at the end of the year and reinstatement for the tax exempt status. If you lost it already, you don't have to worry. There's a reinstatement. It's expensive, so don't go there.
Yeah,
And I
it's
have it.
expensive, but Noura, what did you say? You gotta put some biscuit, you gotta put some butter on that wonderful biscuit that you just served up and let them know. So if they have lost it, if I heard this correct, you do help them get that status back.
Yes, we can reinstate it. We just have to know what's the reason. Most of the common reasons would be like not filing for 3 consecutive years. That's the most common, but it could be another reason. So we just have to know, and then like we have to go and apply again, reinstate it, like explain to the IRS what's happening and see what's requirement for that particular status loss, and then we go forward. So it's not impossible to reinstate it. Like we can get it back, but you don't want to get there and get your service disturbed with anything. So
The
yeah.
fact that you can do that, that is awesome. Again, like I said, when Noura gives this information, her information at the end, get, like we always tell you, get your pens and paper ready. You want to be sitting there on speed dial with your finger just crippling, ready to type down her information. Hurry up and bum rush stock Noura, because you're gonna need her help. And this is wonderful. Not only can she reinstate you, she can set you up. So this is a person that you can utilize long term. And we're all about that, building relationships and continue to use someone's service long term, that they know you, that you can grow with, and your business can thrive. This is just awesome. I'm sitting over here crying because this is the best one ever, because I'm always about foundation. It's key, guys, because you need this and you want somebody that cares. And Noura's that person, and that can work with you long term. Okay,
And
Brittany, any other questions? I'm gonna stop hogging all the questions. This is my favorite episode, guys.
No, that's fine. It's like we're both questionaholics, so you know. What I was gonna say was earlier when you mentioned the budget sheet, I was stressing this in my interview from yesterday. As grant writers, we write a mean budget sheet. We can get those numbers in. We can do that. We're not accountants, so we just know based on what you tell us on the receipt. Oh, I spent 300 for this, 5,000 for that, and we can just put it in a nice budget sheet, but to actually see where that money is going, how it's going to be spent, and other things like that, you need an accountant. Because it's one thing to have like the numbers looking nice and everything. It's another thing to see where the revenue and the expenses went. So keep
Exactly.
that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind. So
Yeah.
a question I had, another one I had was, what taxes should nonprofits worry about?
So like basically that the end of the year one, that informational tax return. So don't worry, you're not paying any taxes on that. But in terms of the other taxes is if you have an employee, you have to make sure you pay the payroll taxes and file that quarterly return and the annual return for that. If you have unrelated business income also that you are selling or you're doing something, you know, if a church or a place like have somewhere they're renting, that's an income, you have still to pay tax for it, because this is not with your you know, it's not for your mission as an nonprofit organization. So that you have to worry about. But any payroll thing, you want to make sure that you have that filed on time and paid, because you're withholding people money, that employees, and IRS do not joke with that. Even if you are employee now there and you're responsible for that, and then you left, and while you were there, you were not compliant, you are not sending this money to the IRS or to the state, they will go after you and get your your personal financials. And this is, a lot of people don't know, and they think, okay, I'm leaving, I have nothing to do with them anymore. Even your bookkeeper or the payroll provider, if they know you are not compliant and they're still there, they can be held accountable for that.
Responsible.
Yeah. And you know, income
And
tax
mainly
person.
you. And I like to, like, because when you put that bylaws together, guys, a lot of times in your bylaws, you make sure that you state that your board and other people won't be responsible for you. So guess what, guys? Like she said, even if they're responsible, because if you have bylaws in play and you say they want, it's all on you as the founders, you're going to be held accountable. So you want to do what Noura is advising you to do, because a lot of times you think like, oh, I'm nonprofit, oh, I'm exempt, this is tax exempt, but there's still things you have to do. I always tell you guys, nonprofit is just like any other business. It's just that you can't receive profits from it. You receive donations to do what you have to do, in-kind donations, but it's a business, guys. You have to run it as such. And that's why you have your board, then keep the right people on your board to help keeping you in place. And one of those people on your board or advisory board, you need an accountant. You need to get you accountant on the team to help you, or to get a service where the board said, we're going to hire this accountant so we're good with our numbers. So Noura, while you finish explaining that about that process, also could you go into the franchise tax? Because a lot of times if you guys didn't fill out, like once you got that determination letter and now you're exempt from the IRS, you should have done something to exempt you from franchise tax. If you did not, then you need to hurry up and go fill that out so you don't get penalized. And then some states are different, because some you have no choice, you have to do franchise tax. But here in Texas, you need to fill out that form immediately so you don't get franchise tax. Can you kind of talk about that as well as you finish explaining making sure that they payroll tax and things are set up?
Yeah, there's always like annual reports with the states, and every state is different. Some states you just have to do the franchise tax exemption, and you may want to update that every year. Other states you just have to register with the Attorney General, and if you didn't do that yet, you can just go and see what the regulation on your state, and it's very complicated in each state. It's totally different. So you, like, I can help you with that. If you're struggling, feel free to reach out. Actually, I just want to like mention also on losing the exempt status. I have developed a very short ebook that illustrated for you to help you not lose your exempt status, and that's just free for you to download, so you don't come to me or to any other one like I lost my status, just to help you stay in place. And
Free.com, guys. You heard it from thank
Um,
you, Noura. Free.com. So guys, there's no excuses. Help your accountants help you. And look at Noura. See, she's giving away, she's giving back to help you. This is the organization you want to be linked up with. Thank you, Noura, for your services, because it's needed. And I'll definitely be calling you because I didn't know myself about the franchise exemption every year. I know once you I've already applied, but I didn't know about every year. So I'll be giving you. See, guys, you learn something every day.
No, sometimes they just have to report something. You just say, okay, update them like the IRS and say, okay, here we are. I'm still exempt. I'm still doing good service. So if every state is different, you just have to look and what state you're in and what's required from you, just to make sure. And some states, like the article of incorporation itself, needs to have an annual report. You have to. This is still exists for nonprofits. So it's like you said, you have to run your nonprofit as a business. And actually it's harder than running a business because it's people money, and you are held more accountable to it. So you have to make sure you have good accounting. And as you said, everything is public. When you are nonprofit, you accepted that you are in all the information in public, every single thing, even like the highest paying employees, like the executive director, they're listed and how much money they are getting annually. So nothing
And can you
private.
talk about that? Because there's a cap on that. A lot of times when you're a nonprofit, it's like I think 35% cap. There's a certain percentage, guys. There's a cap on what you can pay your execs or your team that's running the nonprofit organization. It's not like regular salary because you are a nonprofit. So keep that in mind too. And Noura can help you with that to figure that out. So you in compliance, guys, with everything. So that's why it's good to have a bookkeeper.
Yeah, you need to make sure that you're not having people in your house, like coming to your location and then have them as an independent contractor. They are employees, and there's a penalty for that. A lot of consequences is different when you hire a professional or who's doing service from home on their own time, using their own equipment, than having someone in-house, like tell them like what time they should come in and what time they should leave using your equipment. Those are employees, and you are required by the IRS to hold their taxes and have them classified correctly. There's a lot of consequences for that, so you have to make sure you know what you are doing.
So Noura, let me ask you this. So let's say you have programs and you hire it out for your programs. You're doing your programs, and it may be someone that's in line with you. You may do stuff for, like, say, my organization. I'm going to use it for example. We help teach kids financial literacy at Junior Billionaires. And I want to hire someone out that does the mental health and athletic part of mentorship. And this is what their company focus on. So how would you set that up? Is there employee or 1099 that you're allowing them to do the program?
So there's a lot of things. So is it their own company? So you're hiring a company?
Yeah, I'm hiring a company.
That's a partnership. They're contractor partnership, and it can be. So if it's a company, you don't need to provide 1099 or anything. But if it's the person who's doing freelance and works for many different people, and just that's independent contractor.
So thank you. So guys, that's the difference. She explained it to you. That's the difference, because sometimes you can hire a whole company because they're set up equipped to do the things for that program. And you like, hey, I'm going to write them in to do funds. I'm going to work with them a partnership long-term to offer the services for my nonprofit. And then you would fit them in as your fee operational costs. Like, this is the service fee for this company versus employee. So because they're paying their own employees or whatever that you're giving them with their prices, you're coming into an agreement contract with them versus employment. Now, if that person as their company, but they may not want to be hired on as their company, just as an individual who does the service and run it, then you're hiring them on as an employee. So to run that that program. So that would be your program coordinator for that program, and they would be doing it. So then, yes, you will want to pay them as an employee and put them on the payroll. So thank you so much, Noura, for clearing that up. I just like to make sure people are cleared up on things, because sometimes we'd be like, oh, I found a loophole and I can do it this way, and don't have the clear understanding whatsoever.
Yeah, they
So
think it's
Brittany,
easier and they just want to like do the easier way and don't want to like acquire the additional cost, but there are going to be a lot of consequences for that.
No
yeah, guys, you can't
shortcuts.
put a
You heard it.
band-aid on stuff. You got to pay for it, just like a house. You know, you have a house, it's investment. This is an investment into your community, and you want to do it the right way so you can continue to get funds and it keep flowing, and you get that equity for your home. So when you do want to leave out, that it has great equity inside for the next home generation, like for your kids. If you're going to pass your home on, you don't want them to be like, what happened here, and patchwork and it broke down, and then it's so much money that you're putting in. It's the same thing, guys. Do it right the first time so you don't have to keep paying. And altogether, we always tell you, we do not want you to go to jail now. We don't want to see you.
I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna
We
ask.
do
You
not want to
didn't get
see
your
you.
bookkeeping, huh? See you
We
next
do.
week. Because you didn't do
We-
your bookkeeping. I always say it.
That's why we bring you these things, to make sure you in compliance. We don't want to see you in jail, guys, and especially when you doing these federal grants. We don't want to see you in the federal paying people. Like, come on, like that's your whole livelihood destroyed, and you had a good heart, but because you lacked, and the scriptures tell us our people perish because of lack of knowledge, and then all their ways get an understanding. So come on, let's get an understanding. Let's not get destroyed in our well-being, what we're installed to do and trusted to do in our community by lack of knowledge. And that's why we brought you Lady Grant Scribes, guys, to unlock and take you behind the veil. And Noura's doing an excellent job taking you behind the veil on her company, and what great CPAs do and what great bookkeepers do. So I'm if you're not sold, I am. And this is not, she's not paying me to plug to do anything. I already see greatness when people can give you stuff for free and really can explain to you systems so you don't make a mistake. This is who you want to link up to with. Brittany, I'm just tell you I'm excited about this episode. I can preach all day. But you go if you have any more questions.
No, I have a couple more. And the next question I'm gonna ask is actually a tie-in to what you were saying about the bookkeeping for nonprofits and for businesses. Are you able to tell me what the difference is? And I'm reiterating that because I know like for business, you can have employees. You can have a certain number of employees that work with you. And also you can be a company like a general partnership where you don't necessarily have employees, but you have a main stockholder, and you know whoever has the most whenever they're doing that, those are the people that they kind of work with or work under, or they kind of have like a main general partner, but they kind of do their own thing but still come together. So just that's what I wanted to know, the differences between the two.
So pretty much accounting is accounting, bookkeeping is the same thing, except for the nonprofits. There's like some requirements, like I said, and from the IRS, you have to report every program, like how much funding you got to that program and how much did you the money cost you. How much did that program cost you?
Gotcha.
And while in the business, like you can pick like how you want to report your information, like expenses and income, but the way to present it, like the way you package your service or your goods that you sell, it's up to you as long as it's aligned with the accounting principles. You just want to make sure that is in place. But for the nonprofits, you must have different reporting, so you can, you know, like each program reports it differently. And if you have a grant, that's another thing. This is another service I offer, like grant management in terms of financial aspect of it, because always, like whether in business or nonprofits, you have to keep your receipts, your invoices, everything, your log, like for if you're taking a deduction for the gas or anything, there's like different rates that accepted with the IRS. So that's one of the differences, but you have to keep all of that. But it's even more important when you have it in the nonprofit. So in business, the worst can be done, like if you get audited, that you will lose that deduction if you don't have the backup. But for the nonprofits, you might lose your nonprofit exempt status. And if it's like for a fraud reason, like you might not be able to redo it again. But if it's just like innocent mistake, like you just didn't know you have to file or something like that, it's always up to IRS to accept the reinstatement or not. But they're not, you know, if they see it's not that a major issue that you can fix, and you understand that how to fix it, then they will just have no problem with that. But if something major, they might not accept to reinstate. So you have to make sure you're doing the correct bookkeeping and accounting that needed for your business and for your nonprofits. And also for businesses, like you have, like in some formation, you are required to do estimated taxes payments quarterly. A lot of people don't know that. That is not required for the nonprofits, because nonprofits, you know, you don't generate revenue, like you have funding, but that's not taxable. So that's major difference also. But in terms of keeping the books, pretty much the same general rules. You just have to be more careful and more detailed in the nonprofits.
Good, awesome. And I have one more question for you. Can a nonprofit pay its board members?
So for being a board member, no, you cannot be your board member. However, if you hire one of the board member, for example, this is the most common, as an executive director who's doing the job of executive director, then now you are paying them a salary for being the executive director.
So you guys, so you heard it, it's verified what we always tell you.
Yes.
You cannot pay your board. Your board is actually supposed to give you money. Their sole position of the board is like the law. Like I told you guys, it's like having laws, and they're the officers that make sure that the law is your governing body. Look at them like the government, that making sure that the other teams is doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to make sure that you're in compliance with the IRS, that you are following things legally, that you don't get any lawsuits, that they're always looking for fundraising and strategies. So like even with Noura, like your bookkeeper, your board should be in compliance back and forth with your bookkeeper to make sure, like, what's fundraising strategies, where are we at this next year with the budget that we need to set and to go after with the grant writer. So they pretty much make sure everybody's functioning the way it's supposed to function in and out their office. And if they're not in compliance, this is where you have your policy of conflict of interest in place, so that you guys can follow that to make sure that you're in compliance. And what's the rules to vote someone out or to fire your executive director or whoever that's not in compliance with your governing bylaws. They're supposed to make sure that you're following the bylaws and giving you money and strategy to make sure that the organization is afloat. So just remember that. So you heard it here. It was confirmed, but we be telling you guys to do. So
and you want to make sure also you have a control system in place, so there's no one person write a check and cash it and approve it. You have to have that control system.
Three at least, right, Noura? At least three. Like your maybe like the your president or the secretary or treasurer. You at least want three people, like checks and balances, to sign off, signatures of sign off when you're setting up that bank account. So
yeah, it cannot be the same person who like initiates and then approve and the cash. So it has to be separated. And all this is always have to be written. It's better for your organization to have a system. So whoever you hire, there is a rule they have to follow, so you don't have to correct mistakes later.
yeah, and that's something we tell you guys, at least 3. My thing is rule of 3 people that they can sign off of the thing, because you have to rule like, what if somebody's signing off and you like the other 2 like, no, we didn't approve of this. It's called checks and balances. And there's like balance sheets that goes into bookkeeping. Like, just because you give your receipts, guys, there's still they have to look at the receipts and then balance what you're saying, what you say in your report.
Yeah.
So it's called checks and balances, guys. It has to equal out on both sides to be weighed. But you definitely, when you set up your bank account, I always say 3 authorized people for accountability and for your accountant. If you have an accountant, leave your accountant as that one person and 2 other people in your organization. So it's checks and balances that can be done with your spending and to help them out while they're doing your bookkeeping. So Noura, can you tell what's the difference? Because a lot of times people don't know what goes into bookkeeping and the things like I was just mentioning, checks and balances when you do your bookkeeping. Because, you know, as tax, because I do taxes as well, but I don't do nonprofit taxes, guys. But when you're doing taxes and bookkeeping is kind of the same across the board. Checks and balances, guys, like your receipts, you want to make sure you get those receipts in. Another tip, when you do have your receipt, write with a pen at the bottom of your receipt what that total is and what it's for, because you know the ink for so long dissipates. And then if you can screenshot that when you can by the end of the week before it just dissipate, guys, that helps out a lot until you can put it maybe in a spreadsheet. But if you can at least do those 3 things and give that to your account, that would help, because sometimes you'll have all these receipts. I remember one time it was tax season and this guy had 3 trash bags full of receipts trying to get caught up, and I was like, okay. But then when he opened it, to his surprise, no ink.
Yeah.
No on anything. And then even some, he started doing the ink pen like at the bottom of the date and what it was for and the amount, but he still kept that for years. So it's gone. He had no spreadsheets, no systems of putting in. So you want to do it while it's fresh, guys, and then send it over to your accountant.
So for that, I just want to add, like, if you have it, we're in 2021, you have to have it on the cloud, I guess. So there's like a system I love, like I always recommend, because I work with it, like it has no limitation for any business or organization. QuickBooks, they have this, you can scan the receipt and send it. So I always do for all my clients, whether nonprofit or regular businesses, I create that email and from QuickBooks, especially to them. So whenever you have that, like either email it or upload it to from your phone, from your phone apps that QuickBooks has, like you upload it there and then it will come to your books. Then I will see it. But like you said, like you mentioned, they have to write down what is it. Because if you go back at the end of the month, I'll ask them, what is it? They will, maybe, no, you will forget. That's for sure. And
yes, because
way,
like especially if you're going out to eat and that's that tax write-off item that you saying, hey, this is for business, and you get that receipt, just keep a habit of putting that pen you know, and writing at the bottom the date for business meeting, you know, and then the price that it was, and then, you know, have it in that glove department, what some of you do with the little rubber band, and make sure at the end of the day that you, like you said, snapshot and upload and say, let me get all my receipts for today for gas and for all of that, and separating it. And for all your gas, you upload those, and then all of your business things like that, itemized, guys, that you do that. Now, if your organization, you can funnel that through a system where everyone's putting in their gas mileage, where they can track it. There's some softwares for that, and as well as, if you know, receipts, you know, for their budget, that they're putting that in and logging that so you guys can have it.
Yeah, QuickBooks actually, they do have that mileage So you can have it in your system, and then you can just specify business, not business. But make sure when you go back out to eat, or if you make a trip and you want to record it on business, or for expenses, you have to make sure to say who was it with and what was it for.
Yep.
That's required. If you don't have that detailed books, you might face consequences if you got audited. So you want to make sure you have all that information. And of course you will forget next week. So you will have to do it at least once a week, at least. That's the minimum I would suggest, if you cannot do it every day. But well, if you can do it every day, that's the best. That's the best.
Even maintenance guys on your vehicle. Come on, guys. Even those receipts, and then kind of work with the people. If there's someone you work with all the time, sometimes they'll give you a ledger at the end of the year too for what you have, how many trips you came for oil change, if it's the same person. But if you go around to different ones for maintenance on your vehicle and servicing, if it's not like GMC and you go to the dealers and they have that record, please keep that as well, so you can put in there your mileage that you have on your vehicle for depreciation purposes as well, guys. So come on, do your due diligence. I know it's a little work, but it's not a lot of work when you have an accountant, but just help your accountant out to help you, please.
Yeah, once that system in place, and it can be easy, but first, like, it's gonna be a little headache. This is why when you come earlier, you get better results and you get used to it. So, but if you are late and you have like few years to clean up, first of all, your taxes might not be accurate. And then like the other thing is, it's going to cost you a lot of money, because that accountant is not going to charge you for 1 month for doing like years of work.
Right. And so that's why I'm trying to stress with you guys, start out early. Get you an accountant like Noura and a bookkeeping where she can do this for you guys. And these guys, I don't want you to think these two services is a must. They go hand in hand. And even though they go hand in hand, guys, it's a lot of work that goes in each one individually. These are two different services, because I don't want you guys to think, because it's a misconception, like, well, isn't it in one? I'm doing taxes. No. Because bookkeeping is a lot to do to keep you up and make sure you compliance with your EIN, all that great stuff. And then there's also doing your taxes, making sure that you get those tax breaks, making sure you in compliance. That is two different services, guys. So Noura, can you kind of tell them kind of the difference between bookkeeping and what the accounting service is?
So bookkeeping is just like recording the transaction, categorize them to the right categories, whether it's the expenses or software, whatever like it is. So just specifying of that, reconciling the expenses with the bank account and with the credit card statement, making sure like there's no duplication, there is no thing miscategorized. So make sure everything is correct. So that's a bookkeeping. Sometimes there's other services bookkeepers can do, like account receivable or account payable, and those are separate. So full charge. I
just want to clarify, guys, because those are two different services. It's the ones that keep your books in line, and then your account receivables, and that's dealing with your payroll, making sure that's all good, that you're in compliance with that payroll, taxes, and then there's taxes.
Yeah. And then payroll is separate, but like bookkeeper, like just make sure like everything goes on in the books. And then accountant, if that's the higher level work, when you have to do journal entries and do like analysis and the different level of accounting. And if someone like just have the bookkeeping experience, they didn't go to business school, they didn't learn accounting, they cannot do the other level like of accounting, like analyzing and stuff. But accountants can do all of that. So this is why like I offer for you like a bookkeeping service and CFO services where you do budgeting, analyzing, giving you like the 3 statements at the end of each of the month to make sure like what where are your organization standing at, and what do you have, what do you need. Like we can set KPI and see where do you want to go, and then like go there, like I'll take you hand by hand and go where you want to be. And if you don't set goals, you cannot get that. So I wanted like $1 million in funding. Okay, so let's set that in a budget. Let's do a KPI and make sure we meet them. There's a steps you have to take. If you just think it, you're not going to reach it. Like any successful business, they don't. If they have a sell target, if they don't reach it, they're their CFO and CEO, they sit together, and marketing professional, they said, okay, what can we do to reach the target? That's what you have to do with your nonprofits. You can.
I love you, Noura, already. I just really love you. I think
I
that's
love
so
it
key.
too.
And you give me so many great nuggets because, guys, she's helping you. This is key for successfully projecting where your organization, if you want your organization to be in the millions, where you are successfully funded, this is how, guys, trajectory, like, hey, we're doing these programs. How can we get these donations? That's part of that strategy, funding strategy. She's just right now just giving you the scoop and the nuggets of funding strategy, because you got to see where you at, where you're starting to project that. Because when we're writing proposals, that's what they want to know. Like, okay, you did the needs assessment. This is your target audience. They want outputs, outcomes, and no better way to show that is with research and statistics, how you can do it, as well as your financials. Like, hey, we're here. We can get here if we have this amount of funding to do this. And next year we should be able to increase this. And how are you going to do that? With other grants, other fundraising, we can be able to target this if we get this sponsorship. So you know how many sponsorships you need to get, how much donations and funds you need to raise to meet that target, and how many grants to go after. So that is key, to have your financials so you know what the underlying budget or target to meet, trajectory target to meet. So this is awesome. Or let's explain some more. I didn't mean to cut you off, but that is just God sent in a blessing, and you need to be hooked up with an organization like this that does it all, guys. And again, like I said, you can grow with. Where are you gonna get this at, peoples? Tell me, because a lot of CPA is not going to do all of this where you can have your bookkeeping and rest. You can do trajectory for funding strategies. And if you start at the beginning as a startup with your bookkeeping, getting these things in compliance and a startup budget, and then now you know what you need to raise for operational costs, and then continue to grow. And you have that here with Noura. What better way? I'm telling you guys, you're not going to get this anywhere else extensively with this hands-on. And guess what? She can also do your personal taxes and any other business tax, because some of you guys may like the system like I told you. You may have another company that, like I said, my nonprofit organization is teaching financial literacy to young people. So I may have my own company called Chosen Armor that I can pay my own other company to actually do the services, because that's what they do for the nonprofit. So guess what? That's a one-stop shop to make sure I'm compliant with both ends, as my regular business and this. You have a one-stop shop, guys, across the board to take care of your needs. So where you gonna get that at? A lot of CPAs don't specialize in nonprofit and projector. Hey, right here, lock in, dial in. So I know y'all gonna be writing this information. I can't stress it enough.
Yeah, that's true. And I was also telling Noura this as well. I said with her business practice in accounting and bookkeeping is similar to what we do as grant writers. Why? Because before we even get started with your proposal, just like before she even gets started with finalizing your accounting, you have to give us information so we're on point. That way we don't put too much filler information for the winning proposal, or you're spending too much on non-essentials for your business or for your nonprofit that she has to dig through. So that's also an important nugget, because we can't take nothing from nothing. I mean, well, we can, but it won't be as accurate, because if you're hiring me as an independent consultant to write your grants, and you tell me, okay, just write it, this is my business, this is what I do, just write it, without any other details, I'm going to have I'm going to have an issue with getting you everything that you need to actually win the proposal to get funded. Just like Noura, same thing. If you tell her, yeah, you just put the numbers in, great. She can crunch those numbers, but what does she have to go on? So it's important that you as an organization, as a business, as a company, that you have the everything that you have that's needed for the startup. That way, when you give it to us, because you're trusting us with this vital information, we can accurately get you exactly what you need. On the grant writing side, is getting you winning proposals. That's what you want. And on
They're
the
competitive, guys.
yeah,
Just like Brittany was saying, grants are, you have to have is vital because grants are competitive, right? So you don't want to say, oh, my grant writer didn't do their job, but let's say your budget not together and your numbers. All these things are a factor that, like we said, we're not accountants. So you want to make sure that it's together properly so you can have that winner competitive edge. And then like with CPA though, guys, if you lie on these numbers and crunch these numbers, we're going by but what you say legally. And if it don't make sense, we'll know if it don't make sense. Like any tax preparer or CPA, we know like, wait a minute, this don't make sense. This is not lining up, and we have a protocol and regulations, and no one is going to lose their livelihood, guys, for you. So get yourself together, and even so, you can get reported because that's like fraud too, lying to your CPA, lying to your tax preparer, getting stuff done. So guys, make sure you're ethical and getting done. And there's flags that we do know about. If you're behind on child support, other stuff, things that's behind, it will pop up. So make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know, the final product is as good as the input in it, and the input comes from you. It doesn't come from us. So we need that from you and as accurate as possible. So the numbers mean something, because if there's false information or not accurate enough, you're not going to get the result you want from this.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's why, guys, we love you dearly here. We want to make sure that you guys are compliant. Again, I told you, I don't want to see you in jail. I don't want to see you having great intentions and you don't know. Because sometimes people just don't know and they fall prey to what they don't know. And then there's people who thinking they're going to get over it. We're trying to help you get that out your mind. Get yourself set up the right way.
It's no way to beat the system. It's no way to beat the system. This is not like poker where the house never loses and the house get to do what they want. No, this is your livelihood. This is real, and you cannot cut corners.
And let me tell you something, like IRS does not care if you know or don't know. It's your responsibility to get educated. It is your responsibility to stay in compliance. And unfortunately, a lot of accountants don't tell you also like what you have to do. Like, I'm hiring you for this and that's it. Okay, they don't tell you, okay, you also have to do this. Because some of them afraid, like they're not gonna, you're thinking that you're gonna have them do it for free. But they don't tell you. Some of them are great and they do tell you. Actually, I know a lot of people like I work with in accounting side, they do educate their clients, and they let them know what happened, and then now the responsibility is on you to know to do it or not. But you have to do it. IRS don't care.
Yeah. And guys, there's a little thing called audit protection too. So Noura, do you have anything with that when you're doing taxes, where in case they get audited, they have that audit protection?
Yes, there is there is an insurance. There's an extra fee for that, but yeah, you can get protection as long as there's nothing intentional or fraudulent. Like there's a protection that you can be protected from being penalized, at least.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, guys, because you never know. If you're starting off and you kind of just don't know, you say, listen, I know I'm new, there's some things, but if you're new and you haven't really stepped no funds or did anything crazy and you don't, but you're filing, it's good to still get that audit protection just to protect you, because you're in your ignorance. You can say, hey, I'm new, but that's why I got this accounting. That's why you can see at least you knew, you may not known a little bit. They see no foul intentions, and that's why you went ahead and hired you someone who do know, a professional. And getting yourself together versus you getting these sons and you still like, hey, at least get you an account, guys. If you got something that did come in and you don't know, because Noura can help you. So Noura, can you help our clients? Let's say they got awarded a grant and they just don't know what's the next steps, or kind of confused on that, so they can track and give to the grantor based on like, hey, this is what I spent this on, or you can help them navigate that so they can be in compliance. Do you help with that?
Yes, definitely. I can do that. I can help them with any grant awarded to manage the financial aspect of it and to make sure we have all the required paperwork in place for that, so they can keep the money and get the money until the final payments. And yeah, that's
And
it.
they
That's
know
the
where
some.
it's going. So like with Noura
Yeah.
helps you and say, make sure this goes, this is how much need to go here, here, here. And then guys, you can delegate and be held responsible. That's key, especially if you're starting off and you don't know, you just got your board. Sometimes, like we say, you may overturn your board in the first 3 years a lot, guys, because a lot of people say they want to help or about the organization. So if it's just you 3 founders and y'all operating kind of as the board in that until you get more members in, this way you'll be in compliance with what you need to do for keeping your programs up, making sure like the people you hired got their funds for that project that you hired them for, and everything is in where it needs to be, and you can rest. And so again, I can't stress this enough. You see this, don't you? Funding strategy, helping you when the funds come in to make sure you're in compliance, making sure your books is in order, and then making sure that you have that great tax return that is set up right properly. So when people try to find you, see what your numbers look like, you are good to go. This is a one-stop shop and a accountant and a bookkeeping services that care. And I'm like, she's not paying me, guys, but I'm excited because I know how important that is and how hard it is to find a gym like Noura that is going in details with you and explaining to you, and that can walk you through this process. And so, Noura, do you have different packages that they can choose for, or a website they can go to or contact you?
Yeah, so my website is Noura's Books at nourasbooks.com. So make sure you put those S's at the end. But you can book an appointment and you can contact me. Phone number 832-598-6542. That's the phone number. You can book an appointment through the website, and I'm on all social media. You can follow me in Facebook, IG, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and also you can subscribe to my YouTube. I'm trying to get a content every week, so every Friday. So now, for now, and so a lot of free information is going to be there, and we can get into a free consultation. We'll speak together, see where are you at, and based on your needs, I will let you know which package will be best fit your needs. I don't want to sell you something that you don't need right now, or it's not going to make any difference for you. So that's why I customize the package for your needs. So you're gonna we talk for 15-20 minutes. Sometimes it goes over, it depends on your need. I dig down into where are you at, and we'll see what can help you the most right now, and then you decide if we are a good fit or not, and then we can go from there.
Okay, awesome.
That's
So Noura, I
awesome.
want you to repeat that phone number one more time with them. And guys, tax season is upon us. So you definitely want to right now start booking so you can be in compliance. Remember, you do not want your nonprofit status taken away from you. So secure your appointment now to see what you need to do for filing so you don't have that to happen to you. So Noura, could you please give one more time to our listeners your phone number and your website?
Okay, it's 832-598-6542. And website is nourasbooks.com. That's NOURABOOKS.com. And feel free also to download the ebook that helps you stay in compliance so you don't lose your status.
I've downloaded your ebook, and I'm telling you guys, it's easy to read. she knows that like a regular person doesn't know what she knows about accounting, so she puts it in a way that you can understand the methods and the steps you need to take in order to keep your status. Really simple to read. I love the layout and formatting of her ebook. I'm telling you guys, definitely. And of course, all that information will be linked in our description box below,
Yep.
and other ways to contact us as well. But yeah, for Noura, go ahead, book your appointment today. And she's also not paying me either to,
Yeah. This is
we're not
good
being
stuff.
paid for this, but we know the importance of, hey, being a one-stop shop, getting you all these goodies in one place, because we understand that, an accountant is one thing, a bookkeeper is another, a tax consultant is another. We understand that, and a lot of money can come out of it. But, to have a one-stop shop like Noura who does all that for you, why wouldn't you take advantage of that?
And we can't leave out like funding strategists in there. A compliance strategy for grants. That's all
Grants
in there
management.
too.
Yeah.
That's called grant management. So we can't I don't want to shy down for Noura's wonderful expertise. We want to like highlight that, because guys, you're not going to get that specializing in nonprofits. So you can continue to be great, taking the guesswork out, setting you in the right path so you can
No
stay in
fluff.
compliance. No fluff. Like, we so key on this with no fluffs. It matches up with all of what our mission is as individual with businesses, what Brittany does, her company, writing the vision plain, what I do with Grants by Lexi as a whole. It just, connect. And so guys, as well, if you somehow have amnesia and didn't get to write this down, or you write it and you lose it, remember, you can always visit this episode, find it in the description box, or you can reach out to us. We definitely would love, with open arms, to give you Noura's information so you can book that consultation with her, because it's vital. Again, tax season is upon us, guys. You definitely want to reach out so you can be in compliance. So Noura, we're going to leave you with the final words. Any words of encouragement, anything that you want to say that we didn't address that you want to get out? We're going to leave the floor for you to discuss that.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, you're doing good in the community. Just leave it. Don't no. Thank you so much for all the information you're giving out. I love working with you, ladies. I'm so happy to connect with you. And I want to tell your audience, just like you're doing all these servicing the community, don't lose it for just some compliance work that you have to do. Make sure like your nonprofit stays for your years to go, and for generations, for people to utilize and benefit from it. Just do what you have to do. Do your due diligence so you don't lose the great work you're doing, so you can see your organization rising and doing that good you wanted to see when you decided to establish. So make sure to talk to us, like get funded with those great ladies and get compliance with me. So we'd love to help you.
Yes, and this is my one final thing, and we're going to sign off. And Brittany, I'm going to allow you to do our handles before we sign off. But I wanted to know, for nonprofit organizations, and we talk about having a board, and maybe not necessarily you sitting on the board if you like, but how can nonprofit organizations, do you have a special packet if they want to hire you on consistency with their organization? Is there a set package or a special thing, or do you have a referral program? Or
yeah, for the I can be hired on a monthly basis, so like to do the strategy or just to do the bookkeeping, it depends. So there's different packages based on the need, and with those packages I offer board meetings. So I would meet with the board and explain the numbers, see what they want to reach, and see if we want to like change from one package to another in certain time, or just like stay there. So we go, I meet you where you are, and then like we go from there.
But they can month to month if they want to hire you ongoing, or like maybe lock you in a contract for a year, they can do that, but it's based on a monthly price, guys. And as well as, like she said, if you are an organization, you can meet with your board. So that is great. So everything is in compliance. Again, great foundation, guys. So I wanted to just get that out there in case some organization was like, well, how can I hire on for like a year, or, you know, ongoing with my company or organization? Now you know, and then you guys can discuss that further based, like she said, on your needs with the consultation. So definitely do that. Okay, Brittany. I can be a little long-winded. So
Me too. It's all good. That's welcome
so if
here.
you could give us our handles, I just want to make sure that they get this great person, Noura Books information, and be ready, because tax season, I can't stress it enough, is upon us. You don't want to lose your compliance, and you want someone to even help you take it to the next year to start, because it's time now to start thinking about those fundraising strategies for next year to be successful. And there's grants now you can start getting ready that's popping out to write for next year, guys. So you want that help. So lock in with Noura to get you on the right footing. And okay, don't forget about us, and especially Lexi at Grants by Lexi. Again, my number is 214-994-9452 with Grants by Lexi. And I would love to help you take the guesswork out of your funding, your grant research, and consulting. You can find me, guys, Grants by Lexi on Facebook, Instagram, as well as grantsbylexi@gmail.com. If you want to book, you can go to the website, my website, which is grantsbylexi.now, NOW.net. You can book a consultation. You can find out my services, or you can email me if you have any questions at grantsbylexi@gmail.com. And of course, as a collective, as a whole, if you want to book me or Brittany, we're here to service. We work as a team. You know to go to ladygrantscribes@gmail.com. And if you have any more questions, or even questions about the show, and we can give you Noura's information too, again, if you didn't get to write that down, which I know you guys are writing it down. I know you are. Go ahead and stock Noura. Like we say, we love stocking the right way.
Stocking is permissive here. So for me, for Write the Vision Plainly LLC, my phone number is 346-291-4592. That phone number again is 346-291-4592. We are taking, like, all of us, book us now. We are accepting clients now. Book us now. Call us for a consultation. My website or everything, I just want to make that disclaimer before I give the letters. Everything is going to be Write the Vision Plainly. So WTVP LLC. That's pretty much everything that I have. So that's what my email is, WTVP LLC .now.site. My email is WTVPLLC@gmail.com. I already gave you guys a phone number. I'm at Instagram and Facebook, WTVP20. I'm also on LinkedIn, which I'll put the links for that in the description below. And also, last but not least, our event. We're hosting our Accelerated Grant Workshop. For this event, it's happening on November 18th of 21, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We're going to be talking about the Articles of Incorporation, how to properly fill that out, your Form 202. Tickets are, you can register right now. And again, the link is in the description. Register at Eventbrite. Our ticket prices are there. So to pay full price, maybe we didn't elaborate on this, but to pay full price, you're going to just purchase your ticket on Eventbrite. If you need to be set up with a payment plan or payment arrangements, go ahead and email us at ladygrantscribes@gmail.com, and we can work that out for you. I just don't, I don't really know like what the situation is, which wallet is or whatever. And if you start a payment plan with us now, on the 17th. On the 17th, the other half of that would be needed. That's
The
it.
day before.
Or
Yeah.
pay in full, like on the day of. You know, we're accepting payment plans until the 17th, November 17th. But to pay it in full from now until the 18th, on the 18th, that's the cutoff day. 17th is really the cutoff day. Like 17th at 11:59, you still have 1 minute before the 18th to, you know, work out your payment arrangement. After that date, like right before the event, sorry, not sorry, but we got to close it off to, like, for you guys to pay full price. So we're giving, if you want to get it in while it's you know, while you still have time to make a payment arrangement, go ahead and email us.
Yep. And guys, something too as well. Let's say you book for this date. We're gonna have these workshops kind of going interchangeably every other month or so. So let's say that you made something happen and you paid full price and you can't make it. Well, we're giving you a chance to book it on another date, and then you have to make it on that date. All sales are final, but we will give you an opportunity to find another date and make it on that day, so you can get the information you need. Now, whether you make it on either other dates, it's final, but we will give you your documents and the bonuses. We will send that because of course you paid for it. So we will
Right.
send you all of that via email.
Goodies, giveaways, freebies, prizes, so on and so forth. We that's part of what we do at our workshop. It's a comprehensive step-by-step process in order to properly fill it out. We for the documents that are part of like the giveaway, the packages, we briefly touch on it. So if you want us to sit down and you want us to review it with you, of course, there's a separate fee for that. But again, we're willing to work with your budget on reviewing, or, you know, just reviewing like, hey, I did this myself. Can you just double check and make sure everything is right? Yes,
Because you're
we can
gonna
do
walk
that.
away at the workshop, guys, literally knowing how to do it. Videos showing you templates where it's filled out on some of it just for the sake of time, where you can just copy, paste, plug. And if you still say, hey, I'm on the fence, I don't know, I'm scared, then you can book me and Brittany and we'll do a 15-30 minutes assessment on it to walk you through it to make sure before you actually submit it, and we'll get with you with those prices. So
And also for like, if you're just saying, oh, you know, I can't handle this, do it for me. Again, consult with us.
yes.
We will help you do it for you. And that's a charge as well. But just to wrap this up, it's been a pleasure.
Yes.
It's been a
Oh,
pleasure
lady,
having Noura.
so our web, so you can find us on Twitter. What's our Twitter for Lady Grant Scribes if they want to tweet out to us?
At
Okay.
Lady Scribes on
Yeah.
Twitter, as they
Yeah,
call it.
and then on Facebook we're
On
Brittany.
Facebook, we're for Lady Grant Scribes, it's just LGSP21. So when you do the facebook.com, it's the LGSP21. Lady Grant Scribes podcast 21.
Gotcha.
So then we're on
And
Instagram
Instagram.
at Lady Grant Scribes podcast. Whenever you search for us, so yeah, that's where we are. Either Lady Grant Scribes, Nora's Books, Grants by Lexi, or Write the Vision Plainly. You can find us. You can stalk us.
Right.
Feel free. You can book us. You can, you know, ask us questions. If you have suggestions for different topics, reach out to us. We would be more than happy to do an episode around your question or suggestion. Like, we love that.
And if you want to book the you know what our show's about, and if you want to be booked to be on the show, definitely let us know and we'll send you out our press kit for that, and then come on the show. We'll love to have you guys, as long as you're lining up, and we know you're not going to give any fluff, no pun intended, because we hold ourselves accountable here. We want people who are actually going to serve and give vital good information and good standing as a company, because we're recommending you out to our audience, as well as we want it to be vital. We want nonprofits to strive and not, be taken advantage of, or any business. So just keep that in mind, guys. But anybody is welcome. If you want to be on here, talk about what you're doing, helping the community. If you're a nonprofit organization, to partner with other nonprofit organizations, or you're in the grant world and space and help nonprofits, please reach out to us. And if you're founders or foundations, we welcome you to come on here as well, and say what new grants that you got coming out, or the processes and what people make mistakes on. We would love to have you. So I'm signing off as Lexi, one of your hosts. You just been scribed with Lady Grant Scribes. And Brittany?
I'm too signing off as, the other host of Lady Grant Scribes as well. And
Brittany C.
That is me all day, every day.
Well, thank you so much for having me, ladies. It was very nice to be with you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Noura.
Love having you.
Yes. Thank you for what you do. We appreciate you.
You'll be back. You'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll be on Connect all the time. We'll work together on many things.
Yep. Okay. I'm with you with the taxes. So.
Yeah. All right, y'all. We will see you in the next one. Y'all take care.
Be blessed.
Be nice to each other. Be peaceful in this stressful time of the world that we're living in. Hug each other if you're feeling up to that, or just say some encouraging words to someone who's having a bad day.
And link up, guys. This is group economics. Group economics is powerful.
Exhibit A. This is an example of it.
Yes, and nonprofits, please link together. We need each other to thrive, strive, and grow. And remember, business owners, you can do this. You got this. We're great in numbers, and never give up on the vision. So you've been scribed. I'm out.
You've been scribed. See you on the next one.